Bismillah. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open the doors of ilm and wisdom to us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us understand what is true and keep us away from whatever is false. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only utter the truth from our mouths and take away any kind of doubt, any kind of shubh, any kind of shak away from our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the doors of our qalb so that we may receive His kalam. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma ameen. Today's ayat are Surah Ad-Duha. Before we go into the surah, like I told you, every surah has a context, pretty much. And there's a background as to when this was revealed, why it was revealed, what was happening at that time. Now, Surah Ad-Duha is a surah from early Meccan period. In the Quran was revealed in 23 years of time frame. The beginning portion of the surahs were revealed in Mecca. And then later on, the surahs were revealed in Medina. Surah Ad-Duha is from the early time, very early time, the surah got revealed. And why was the revelation? The revelation of the surah is very important. And the reason it's important for you to know, because when we will go through the meanings, you'll have aha moments. Okay? So I want you to have those aha moments. So for us to have that, let's understand the context. The revelation in Surah Al-Alaq, we learned that in Cave of Hira, the first revelation came. And then a couple more revelations started coming to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Rasulullah started obviously preaching. This was his job. He became a prophet. He's anointed a prophet. Now your job is to start teaching. What happened, there was a bit of a break in revelations. Wahi stopped coming for a while. And then when Wahi stopped coming for a while, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became very worried and anxious and upset and sad. And the people of Mecca also started fueling his fear that maybe Allah is upset with him. They started teasing him and started mocking him. And one of the narrations that we find in Sirah is of Jamil. She was the wife of Abu Lahab, who was the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she would pass by Rasulullah and mock him in a very teasing way and say, "Oh, so Muhammad, where is your new revelation? Has no new wahi come on you? Has your God abandoned you?" Well, in some of the words that we see in Sirah, in which she says, "Has your devil abandoned you? Has your shaitan abandoned you?" Because obviously people of Mecca were teasing and accusing him of coming up with all of this. Had they believed that this was the divine revelation, they would have believed in it and become Muslims. People who did that, they became Muslims. And the rest of the crowd, they would just mock him. They couldn't understand the power of these words. They did not know how these words are so powerful. So they would think that the jinn and the shayateen come to Rasulullah and then they whisper these things to him. Or, na'udhu billah, Rasulullah goes into these epileptic moments, or he has seizures, and then, he comes up with these. He's a majnoon, right? He's a majnoon. This is what they would accuse him of. Now, the tragedy of this was that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam So the tragedy was this, that in the beginning, when he is starting preaching, he's alone. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of Sahaba with him at that time. It's a very, very lonely time for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine if when you go to these conferences, right? When you go to these big conferences and you see a lot of Muslims there, you feel a bit of a power, right? You feel like, I'm not alone. I've got somebody, I've got people, I'm part of a community. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time did not have a Muslim community. It was very, very early stages of wahi, very, very, very early stages of risala, very, very early stages where he did not have people to back him up. He did not have people who would give him all the support. So in that time, he's lonely. He doesn't have a lot of people. The only connection he had was with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then there is a break in wahi. And in some narrations, we find in Sirah that Rasulullah had a fear on his own that Allah is upset with him, that he has done something wrong, which has caused Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stop communicating with him. And where did that fear come from? That he became ill, and for a couple of nights, he did not wake up to pray tahajjud. Okay? He did not, so he assumed that he's probably his lack of that, or maybe he couldn't figure out what he has done that has made this revelation stop. So he took it upon himself that it must be something that he has done. It was just the fears in his mind, and then people's accusations and people's comments and taunts and mockery, and the way they would make fun of him when he would pass by. It was not easy on him. Just imagine putting yourself in that situation. Now, we feel powerful amongst a lot of Muslims, but imagine if you were the only Muslim amongst 1,000 people, and 999 people in the crowd were against Islam, and you're the only one speaking for Islam. What would be your state? You would feel very alone. Might not even have the guts to say anything. We might even just hide ourselves that, hey, I don't want to even tell people that I'm a Muslim, right? So Rasulullah is in that time of his life where psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, he is at his very lowest because he is very alone. And then at that moment, he's not getting a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he goes into this spiral psychologically that maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upset with me. But how beautiful is our Rabb. How amazing is our Rabb, and how amazing is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This surah is a love letter of Allah to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and through him it is a love letter to us from Allah. In this surah, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks, it's not what he says, the way he speaks to Rasulullah, it is just so much full of love and affection and encouragement and uplifting. Oh, subhanallah. I mean, I can't wait to get into it with you all to discuss that. So this is the background, okay? How does that surah begin? It begins, وَالضُّحَى. Okay, let's start here. وَالضُّحَى. Wa is the waw of qasm. Waw of qasm is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something. Okay? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something, he not only emphasizes the thing he is swearing by, okay, but also there is a jawabul qasm that is to come after it. That is of utmost importance. So he swears by two things in the first two ayats. وَالضُّحَى, by the afternoon, or by the forenoon, sorry, not the afternoon. وَاللَّيْلِ, and by the night, إِذَا ثَجَى, when it darkens. Now before we go into the Jawabul Qasam, the Jawabul Qasam is ayah number 3 and onwards. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. But we really need to talk about these words, Ad-Duha and Sajah, and the framing of these ayat. What-duha, by the forenoon. What's duha? Duha in Arabic comes out of the root letters dad, ha, and waw. Okay? Duha is the early part of the day. It's the time right after sunrise. It's not the Fajr time, and it is not the noon time. It is the time between Fajr and noon, when there is a pleasant daylight, when the daylight starts erupting and the hustle and bustle of the day begins. Okay, what is duha? Early part of the day. And I want you to visualize that part of the day. What's happening? There's a bit of tranquility, but at the same time, there's hustle and bustle. For women who have children, what are you doing at that time of the day? You're packing lunches. You're rushing kids to school, rush hour, people are getting ready for school, right? So I want you to visualize it's an early part of the day, which is hustling and bustling. Duha, the light the meaning, the word in itself contains that there is no scorching heat. During the noon time, there's heat is at its highest. Duha is the time of light in the early morning when the heat is not very shadid, it's not very strong. It's a pleasant morning light, okay? And there is activity everywhere in contrast to Fajr. Opposite to Ad-Duha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then swears by the night. So he says, by the forenoon, by the early light of the day, by the early part of the day, okay? Wal-layli, and by the night. Wa here is the wa of atf, meaning continuation of the qasam that we see in Wad-Duha in the beginning. Okay. Wal-layli, and by the night. Either when saja, it darkens. When it darkens. Now I want to talk about the word saja with you before, again, we go into explanation. What is saja? What does it mean by that? Let me just... Saja, if you see here, sorry, okay. Saja comes out of the root letters Sin, Jeen, and Waw. Okay. Saj. Saj refers to quiet, calm, tranquil, dark. Hence, it is sort of like a sifa, a sort of like an explanation of a portion of the night. When the night starts, there are different phases at night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not swearing by the entirety of the night, but he's talking about the night when it darkens. Saja, in Arabic, there's a phrase called Sajal Layl. The night has intensified in darkness. Okay. Then, so there are two meanings hidden in the word Saja, in Sin, Jim, and Waw. There's stillness of the night, okay, and the darkness of the night. So it's part of the night that is extremely dark, and during that part of the night, it's extremely still as well. The opposite of Ad-Duha, when hustling and bustling happening. Okay, this is the part of the night when hustling and bustling is not happening. There's stillness and there's intense darkness. Okay. In one of the ways the word asaj is used in Arabic language, there's a phrase called al-bahru saji. What does that mean? It means that if you ever been for a seaside, you'll see the sea, the shores of the sea. Sometimes the waves are very loud. Okay, they're obnoxiously loud. And then sometimes you see the sea, there are literally no waves that you can see. It's very calm and quiet. So this calmness, quietness, and stillness of the sea is referred to al-bahru saji, the peaceful sea. So I'm explaining this to you so you can truly grasp the meaning of the word saja. It's not just the intensity darkness, but rather it's also the stillness. Now again, the disadvantage with just translations is that we lose the depth of the meanings. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by two things. Wad-Duha, by the early part of the day. The way it's so evident. Every day you experience that part of the day. And every night you experience the stillness and darkness of the night. What I'm about to say is very important. It is as real as Duha, is as real as Saja, as real as Layl. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to say to Rasulullah? From here. Ma wadda'aka. Ma wadda'aka. He has not forsaken you. He has not left you. Who has not left you? Who has not left you? Rabbuka, your Lord. Your Lord has not left you, Ya Rasulullah. Wa ma qala. And nor does he hate you, nor does he dislike you. Now, let's look into the detail of these meanings here. Ma wadda'a. Wadda'a, the word that you see here, it's a verb. Okay? Wadda'a comes out of the root letters Waw, Dal, and Ain. Waw, Dal, and Ain. What does it mean? Wada'a yad'u. Okay, it means something that stops, something becomes static. But if you notice here, it's not wada'a, it's wadda'a. Wadda'a. There's a tashdeed here. Okay, this comes from tawdi'an. Wadda'a means to say goodbye, to say farewell. Okay, It's a sort of a final farewell, something that you would say to a traveler, that I bid you farewell because we might never see each other again. Okay, so there's more intensity of a farewell in wadda. So it comes up to me, wadda ends up meaning what? To give up, to leave, to abandon, to forsake. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Ya Rasulullah, by the morning light and by the darkness of the night, your Rabb has not abandoned you. Your Rabb has not forsaken you. Your Rabb has not left you alone. You are not alone. Your Rabb is with you. And what is more amazing about this ayah is the usage of the word ma. The word ma in Arabic is used in 9 different ways approximately. Okay? There are 9 different meanings of the word ma in how it's used. Here, the meaning of the word ma is of ma of nafi, meaning ma of negation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said lam wadda'aka. He could have said lam wadda'aka, which would mean the same thing, that he has not forsaken you. But the addition of ma instead of lam, the ma instead of lam adds intensity to it. It says ma wadda'aka, he has not forsaken you at all. At all, Ya Rasulullah. Your Rabb has not left you, abandoned you alone at all. This is what gets added with this language, the way it's added. Who has not left you? Rabbuka, your Lord. Wama qala. And he does not hate you. The word qala doesn't necessarily mean the word hate. Okay? Qala comes out of the root letters qaf, lam, and waw. Okay? Al-qila means intense enmity, hatred, or prejudice. Okay? Ibn Faris, who's a linguistic, he defines the word qala that it has 2 elements into it. The 2 elements in this word. The first element, to move away from something. Okay? To move away from something. And to get away from something, meaning you create a distance. You don't just create a distance from something, you move away from that thing because you dislike it so much, or you are displeased by it so much, or you're annoyed by something. So the meaning of annoyance, displeasure, and discomfort and anger, all of that are embedded in the word qala. So just translating it as hate, because sometimes you just hate things because you hate them, right? But no, the displeasure comes from because you're annoyed by it, right? So the displeasure and hatred is coming out of annoyance from something, because you saw something that you were disgusted by. So this is the word qala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that no, your Rabb has not abandoned you, neither is your Rabb angry with you. He's not upset with you. He's not annoyed by you. He has not made a distance with you. Okay? Interesting thing is, Ma wadda'aka, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word pronoun ka to refer to Rasulullah. And then he says, Rabbuka, your Rabb. Again, an element of affection. When he talks about this strong word, wama qala, he neither hates, he does not add the letter ka afterwards. It could have been wama qalaka. Look, wadda'aka, Rabbuka, wama qalaka. He does not hate you. He did not mention the word you here because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not seem it good to put the word hate of hatred and ka used for Rasulullah together. You see the affection and love here. وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reassures us. وَلَلْ آخِرَةُ. And indeed, surely, wa and lal, surely, آخِرَةُ, the hereafter, khayrun is better, laka, for you, min al-ula, than the world, than the first. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sort of giving hope to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that don't be upset. What's about to come is much better than what you're experiencing now. Ulama has understood the word akhirah and ula in 2 ways in this ayah. Number 1, al-akhirah literally meaning hereafter. Okay? Or sorry, al-akhirah literally means former, something that is to come. the later state. Akhira literally means later state, something that is going to come afterwards. And al-ula, the opposite of it that has been used here, it means something that is going to come former. Okay, the first thing. So the first thing is this world. Okay, current state of affairs. Akhirah is the after state of affairs, meaning right now, Ya Rasulullah, min al-ula, what are you experiencing? These things will not stay the same. Something better is coming for you, akhirah, afterwards. Meaning, right now, you are in so much pressure, the psychological pressure, emotional pressure, spiritual pressure from your people and from the job requirement of being a prophet. So this ula state of yours, this first state of yours, this will not last forever. Something better is coming, which is al-akhirah, that is surely going to be better than what you're experiencing. The after state, inshallah, you will see Islam spread. You will see your companionship increase. You will see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you immensely. That's one way of understanding this ayah. The second way that ulama has stated the understanding of this, the Mufassirun has explained this ayah, is this: that akhirah in the Quran is usually referred to as hereafter, the day of judgment, right? The life after death, the life after this dunya. Walil akhiratu, your life after death, or your life after this dunya, is going to be better for you, laka, for you, min al-ula, than the first, than the world. Interestingly, the opposite of akhirah would be dunya. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not use the word dunya, rather he used the word al-ula, the first. Okay? So, indeed, what is about to come is going to be better for you, Ya Rasulullah. Every succeeding moment of your life is going to become better than the one. It includes your progress in knowledge. It includes your progress in wisdom. It includes your progress in nearness to Allah. It will only increase. It includes your struggle. Now, the question comes to my mind, and the question came to the mind of Mufassirin as well. This is a Meccan surah. This is the beginning stage of wahi. The torture has not started yet. Okay? The physical torture of Muslimin has not started yet. The exile from Mecca has not happened yet. The hijrah from Mecca has not happened yet. Badr has not happened yet. Uhud has not happened yet. All these difficult stages of Muslims in the seerah that we know of has not happened yet. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, better things are coming for you. How do we reconcile this? How do we reconcile this? Mufassirin explained this in this way, that the battle that Rasulullah was fighting in the beginning was a psychological battle. Once you conquer the psychological battle of hardship, the physical battle of hardship becomes very easy. Once you conquer your psychological fears of applying the deen, once you overcome the psychological fears or the fears that we create in our heart of how am I going to do this? How am I going to practice this? There's so much anger against Muslims. There's so much fitna in the world. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Once you overcome I cannot, once you put your trust in Allah, akhirah, the next stage of your life will be easy, even though physically it will not look easy to others. But for you, it will become easy, just like it became easy for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And we actually see the evidence of this too in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that despite after the challenges in his life as well, Fath Makkah happened, the victory of Makkah happened, right? The Islam spread throughout the world, right? So the promise of Allah, he says, indeed, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ أُولَى. Now there's something very subtle here, grammatically. وَلَلْ. وَلَلْ. He could have said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said, وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ. What is the need of adding this lam of ta'keed, of surety? It's like saying, for example, If I were to tell you that I saw someone, let's say I saw who is a famous celebrity or something. Let's say I saw Biden. Okay, let's talk about him. I saw Biden next door. Okay, now people are gonna look at me in a like, yeah, really, for sure, yeah, whatever, like as if you saw him. So I will say, no, I definitely saw him. Okay, I definitely saw him. Some might believe me, and some say, I don't think you did. So then I will say, I swear I definitely saw him, right? So this intensity of my word is what? To prove the non-believers who are not believing my statement. Now, my statement, let's say I did see Biden there, right? This is about something that's true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that akhirah is going to be better than ula. Akhirah is better than dunya. It is for us skeptics of this dunya and akhirah who don't truly believe that akhirah is going to be better than ula. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing, surely I swear, the lam of ta'keed has the meaning of swearing in it and intensity and definitely in it, that surely by I swear indeed akhirah is better than dunya. Your current state will improve. Your next state after you implement the deen will become better than what it is now. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. وَلَسَوْفَ, and surely soon, يُعْطِيكَ, we will give you. يُعْطِيكَ, surely soon we will give you. Ita'a, it comes from ita'a, we will grant you. What will we grant you? Soon, what will we grant you? Rabbuka, and who will grant you? Your Lord will grant you, Ya Rasulullah, fatarda, so that you will be pleased. Meaning your Lord will give you a gift. He will bless you with gifts, so much so that you will be pleased. Fatarda, and you shall be pleased. Now the gift isn't mentioned, but the giver is mentioned. The giver is Rabb, but the gift isn't mentioned. And the pleasure of the receiver is mentioned. What's the wisdom behind this? Let's ponder on this. Let's reflect on this. Let's do tadabbur on this ayah number 5. Mufassirin say this, that think of it this way. If a poor friend of yours says to you that I'm going to give you a gift, the question comes to your mind, yeah, I'm probably going to get like a $20 gift or a $25 gift, maximum a $50 gift, right? But let's say Elon Musk or somebody in high power is your friend. Okay? Somebody who's very, very rich is your friend. And they say to you, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. I'll give it to you. I'll give you so much that you won't have a need. You don't have to worry about it. What's going on in your mind at that time? Are you thinking of like a $50 gift card? No. Are you thinking of a $100 gift card? No. You're thinking of something massive, because it's a very rich friend of yours saying to you, I'm going to give you something that it's going to blow your mind. You're going to have no desires left after I give you that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the value of the gift increases by the value of the giver. Who is the giver of the gift here? Rabb, who is the Malik of the heavens and the earth, who owns the treasures of the heavens and the earth, who controls everything. He says to Rasulullah, وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ, soon, surely we will give you something. He will give you, Rabbuka, your Lord will give you something, فَتَرْضَى, that you shall be pleased. There is no need to mention what exactly will be the gift, because the gift that Allah will give, it will encompass everything that the heart of Rasulullah desired. And ulama state that the thing at that state, what did Rasulullah want the most? He wanted the hidayah of his people. He wanted the ease of the spread of Islam. And we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does give him that, inshallah ta'ala. But on top of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions certain blessings that he has bestowed on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So after saying this, that we will soon give you something that you will be pleased, then he reminds Rasulullah of the blessings that he bestowed on him before Nubuwah. Like, it is as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is acknowledging that, yes, I understand that you are in a current state of hardship, but remember when I did this, this, and this for you? If your Rabb took care of you at that time, so and so and so, he will take care of you now, and he will take care of you in the future. So, how does he remind him? Alam yajidka? Did he not find you? Alam, did he not yajidka find you? Yatiman, an orphan. Fa'awa. And then he gave you refuge. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father passed away even before he was born. Before his birth, his father passed away. And when he was about 5 or 6 years old, his mother passed away. He was truly a yatim. And people who don't have parents who become yatim, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never put our children in that state. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease the suffering of all the orphans in the world and the Muslim community especially. A person who loses their parents is truly a lost person. Because it's only your parents who can let go of all of our shortcomings and then still truly love us. Without your parents, nobody is actually truly your caregiver. I mean, you can foster children, you can adopt children. In very rare cases do we see that adoptive parents become as good as, the real parents. It's rare, but it happens. But majority of the cases, it doesn't really happen that way. We have a lot of orphanages. How do people treat orphans, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, remember when you were all alone? What happened? At that time, you were alone too. When you were a child, who took care of you? Who gave you refuge? Who gave you shelter? Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put love for Rasulullah in the heart of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who took care of Rasulullah. And after his death, after the death of Abdul Muttalib, Abu Talib became the caregiver of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until his death, until his passing. So the interesting part here is that fa'awa, the word awa that has been used here. And here it has been translated as, and he gave you refuge, but I want to go a little deeper in the word fa'awa. Awa is the kind of refuge that comes with love and affection. Now, in translation, you can't really translate it. It is not something that you're giving shelter to someone and cursing them. No, it's giving them shelter and refuge with a lot of care and love. And the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was brought up by Abdul Muttalib and Abu Talib, we see that in Sirah, that Abu Talib raised Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his own children. Okay, there was a lot of hub. Rasulullah grew up with a lot of hub and affection from his uncle and from his grandfather. So it's not just a casual shelter where you put somebody in a cabin and give them like 2 times of bread and 2 times of food and give them a place to go to the washroom. That's not the shelter. It's not a tent kind of shelter. It's making someone part of your home, part of your family, part of your lineage, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, did I not find you? Did he not find you, team? And then he gave you shelter. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further goes to mention two more blessings that he bestowed on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My bad, I should stop here. And what are those? وَوَجَدَكَ, and he found you. ضَالٍ, unaware. فَهَدَى, so he guided you. What does that mean? And he found you lost or unaware, so then he guided you. ضَالٍ is from dalala, darkness, lost. And you probably heard a similar word in Surah Al-Fatiha when you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Okay? From the same root. But dala or dalala has 2 elements to it. The meaning of being lost and the meaning of being unaware. We know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, we cannot associate the meaning of being lost the way other people were lost in his community. I mean, that is why he was sad. He was sad because the other people in the community were lost. This is why he would go to Cave of Hira for guidance. He was unaware of the guidance. He wanted to learn. So Da'lan, the true meaning here would come out to be seeking guidance in unawareness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, this is further explained in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that how you were ghafil. You were ghafil, meaning you were not aware of the hidayah. You were not aware of the wahi, and then he guided you. Fahada, so then he guided you. Did he not, were you not looking for guidance, Ya Rasulullah? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Were you not coming to Cave of Hira? Were you not going to these places, secluding yourself, disassociating yourself from the people so that you would seek me? Were you not seeking me? And did I not find you? Did I not guide you? Fahada, so he guided you. وَوَجَدَكَ, and he found you. عَائِلًا, poor. فَأَغْنَى, so he made you rich. So he found you in need, then he made you free of need. Island, the translation, the word poor is very poor of a translation for this. Okay. Island is, it's the word that literally means that you're in need of something. Okay. You're deprived. Okay, all your needs are not met. Then the word island is used. And because of your needs not met, there's pressure on you. Is it not like when somebody is hungry, there's pressure of hunger on them. They're in need. And especially if other people are dependent on them, they have to feed other people. There's this extra pressure. It's not just that you're hungry, you're in need. Now you have this family to take care of yours. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, did he not find you poor and then he made you rich? Did he not find you in need? And we know this, that around this time he had already married Khadija radiallahu anha. So this is the reference to his marriage to Khadija radiallahu anha, that she was a very rich woman and she was a businesswoman, right? So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married her, all his financial needs of that time were fulfilled. Because what happened? He's yatim. He goes into the care of Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather. He passes away. He goes into the care of Abu Talib. He passes away, and now he's a young man, right? He doesn't have any family or any family money to support him. He gets married to Khadija radiallahu anha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitates that marriage. Now here, his financial needs are taken care of. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of three of his blessings. Then were you not an orphan, then I gave you refuge. I put love for people in your heart. In people's heart, I put love for you. And you were looking for guidance, and did I not guide you? Well, and you were looking for sustenance, and you were in need for that. Did I not make you independent? Did I not free you from your needs? After mentioning these consecutive blessings, you see from here to here, ayah number 6, 7, and 8, 3 blessings are mentioned, right? Then, right after that, from here, ayah number 9 and onwards, 3 commandments come. 3 commandments come to Rasulullah, and through those commandments, obviously those commandments are coming to us. Okay, whenever these commands are given to Rasulullah or anything that is explained to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by default, the message is coming to us as well. What are those commandments? فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. So as for the orphan, فَأَمَّا, so as for the orphan, al-yatima, meaning as far as the orphan is concerned. فَأَمَّا is a combination of 2 words, fa, so, amma, as for. Or as for, in relation to, that's the meaning. So in relation to, as far as an yatim is concerned, what should you do, Ya Rasulullah? And what should you do, O Muslimin, O people, or reciters of the Quran? فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Then do not treat them with oppression. Do not treat them with qahr. What is qahr? Qaf, ha, and ra. Qahr is anger. Qahr is anger with hatred. Qahr is harshness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, do not treat the orphans with harshness. That's not what you do. That's not what a believer does. And then he says, and it's interesting how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started mentioning that you are also a yatim first. So especially that now that you have lived the experience of a yatim, you need to be extra kind to a yatim. You were an outcast in the society, so now you need to take care of the outcast in the society. So take care of the people, take care of the yatim. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ, and do not treat them with oppression. وَأَمَّا, and as for السَّائِلَ, the beggar. Sa'il doesn't necessarily mean a beggar. I mean, this is the best translation we can do, but as-sa'il is someone who questions, who asks. So the ulama say there are two kinds of sa'il here. A people, because he had started giving, Rasulullah had started preaching. So people, when you preach, when you're in the position of preaching, sometimes people ask really ridiculous questions, or they ask out of annoying you. The purpose of them is to annoy you. And sometimes some people are unable to understand the intricacies of things, so they ask too many questions and repetitive questions. And for a teacher, sometimes it can become very annoying, right? So that's one meaning of a sa'il, one who questions. Another meaning of the word sa'il is literally people who ask for things, right? Sometimes they're family members, some they're friends who are asking for things, right? Or anybody who asks because they need something. So وَأَمَّا سَائِلًا, and as for the one who questions, as the one who asks, the one who demands things, what should your behavior be towards that kind of an individual? فَلَا تَنْهَرْ, then do not repulse them, do not scold them. Now tanhar, again, repulsion is not a true meaning for it. So let me explain the word tanhar. Tanhar comes out of the root letters. The verb is tanhar, but the word actually is nahara, noon, ha, and ra. You probably heard of the word anhar in Arabic, which means rivers. Nahar is a river. So what is the connection between a river and a scolding and repulsion? When you stand in a river against the current, it repulses you. It pushes you away. You feel powerless in the midst of a river with a strong current. And when somebody yells at us or scolds us when we're helpless and we don't know what to do, it feels like that we're drowning in this, we're drowning in the waves of this shouting, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. As for the one who questions you, the one who questions you too much, or the one who keeps nagging you, or the one who keeps asking you for things, or the one who keeps begging for things, فَلَا تَنْهَرْ, do not repulse them, do not scold them, be gentle with them, be kind towards them. Yes, it's annoying, but you be gentle, you be kind. You do not push away like the river currents push away people. You do not do that. وَأَمَّا, and as for بِنِعْمَةٍ, the grace, the blessing, رَبِّكَ, of your Rabb, فَحَدِّثْ, so proclaim. And as far as the blessing of your Rabb is concerned, what should you do, Ya Rasulullah? فَحَدِّثْ, proclaim it, tell it, explain it, announce it, declare it. What does that mean? Which ni'mah? Which ni'mah of Rabb is mentioned here? The ni'mah of Nabuwah, the ni'mah of Wahi, the ni'mah, this is the ni'mah that has been mentioned by Mufassirin. This was ni'mah that was exclusive to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, this ni'mah also encompasses all the other things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was blessed with. But the blessing that is exclusive to Rasulullah is Khatamatun Nabuwah. He's the seal of the prophets. He's the seal of the prophets, and he is the one who became, his name is well known in the world. Whenever we mention Rasulullah, what do we say? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In every salah, we send blessings upon him, right? You know how we have Sadaqah Jariyah concept in Islam? The concept of Sadaqah Jariyah is what? That you do something good, you tell someone something good, and if somebody follows it, you also get the ajr for it. So imagine, let's say you teach your child how to pray. Entire life when they pray, you continue to get the ajr for it. That's Sadaqah Jariyah. That's a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Guess who is getting the Sadaqah Jariyah of all of our good actions and all the good actions of Sahaba? and all the people who would read and understand and study the Quran, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The chain goes back to him. So وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَتِي, and as for the blessing of Allah, of your Rabb bestowed upon you, especially the blessing of Nabuwah, because the context of this surah is that wahi stopped. So as the wahi is coming back to you, Ya Rasulullah, فَحَدِّثْ, proclaim it, announce it, let it be known, do not be afraid, do not feel lonely. You go ahead with your mission. You do not stop. Now let's listen to the recitation of the surah, inshallah ta'ala. And after recitation, then let's connect all those verses together and see what we take for ourselves. And while the recitation is being played, I want you to look at these ayat and ponder on the meanings of the surah, inshallah ta'ala.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, what do we learn from this surah? We understand the context of the surah is when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sad. What do we take away for ourselves? Part of doing tadabbur on the Quran is this. Listen, anything that is mentioned in the Quran, any story, there's a lesson for us in it. That's tadabbur. To ponder on it, to understand the relationship between the ayat, to understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used this word at this point. What is the hikmah? Why not a different word? Right? And when we look at the continuity of the surah, we see the acknowledgement of pain in the beginning. The first 3 ayats is the acknowledgement of the pain that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is declaring for Rasulullah. Then the next 2 ayat, 4 and 5, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving hope to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After giving hope, he is reminding of what? The favors. He's reminding Rasulullah of the favors and telling him, I already did this. Why would I leave you now? And the style is very interesting. Alam yajidka. He could have said, you know how it says in ayah number 7 here, وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى, he found you unaware. In ayah number 6 here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have also said, وَوَجَدَكَ يَتِيمًا فَآوَى, that we found you, that he found you yatim and he gave you refuge. But instead of saying that, the structure is alam yajidka. Did he not find you? It's like as if you say to someone, or somebody comes to you, let's say your husband comes to you and he says, are we going to get dinner tonight? And you say, do you not get dinner every night? Do I not cook for you every night? Do you go to bed hungry? It's like, I already do this for you. Why do you question, right? So this is that kind of style. Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa. Like, did we not already do this and this for you, Ya Rasulullah? So why are you feeling sad when Your Rabb has taken care of you in the past, He will take care of you in the present, and He promises to take care of you in the future. Just like that for us. When the calamities of life become too much, we remember. Just like my Rabb has taken care of me in the past. You know, why do we get depressed? We get depressed and sad when we don't get something that we want currently. And I read somewhere, and I really connected with this, that the things that we are complaining about now, they used to be our dua at certain time. You complain about your children, let's say, that they're disobedient, they're not listening to me. There was a time when you're making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have children. We complain about our husbands or our marriages. There was a time when you were making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get you married. You're complaining about your education, your school, your work. It's too much. I'm stressed out. I can't do this. There was a time when you were making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get you into university, to get you into your favorite program. There's a time you're complaining about your work hours. But there was a time when you were making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that work. We end up complaining about the blessings we were praying for, but the blessings come with their hardships. And at that time, I take a lesson from this surah for myself, and maybe it might help you as well, that when I'm in a state of difficulty and depression, I'm going to remind myself of the past when I had it good, and continue reminding and doing shukr of the blessings of those, and make dua, Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi, the way you made those things easy for me, make this easy for me. The way you nourished me as a child, nourish me now. The way you took care of my emotions at that time, take care of me now. And this surah is just so very close to my heart, because whenever I go in a moment of sadness and depression, I open this kitab and I open this book and I see, وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. Were you not feeling lost? And He gave you guidance. Ya Rabbi, I'm feeling lost. Ya Rabbi, I don't know what to do. Guide me. Guide me, show me a way. Where do I go? Who do I go to? Pave way for me. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Ask Allah. You know, when you read the Quran, talk to Allah. Respond to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each ayah. So, for example, وَالضُّحَى وَلَيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. Say, Ya Rabbi, I declare. Yes, the night and the day, I declare by that what? مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. You do not forsake your people. You do not hate your people. Ya Rabbi, do not forsake me. Do not leave me. Do not abandon me. And if there's something that I have done that you have disliked, Ya Rabbi, take that action away from me. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. And surely the hereafter is better than the dunya. Yes, Ya Rabbi, I believe in it. I believe that akhirah is better than ula. Make me firm in this belief so I don't waver. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Ya Rabbi, you promised your Rasul, you promised Nabi that you will give him something that he will be pleased. Ya Rabbi, give me a gift from you so that I will be pleased with it, and give me actions and amal that you will be pleased with me. Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa. Did He not find you yatim and He gave you refuge? Ya Rabbi, yes indeed. You gave me parents. You gave me love. Alhamdulillah. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالٍ فَهَدَى. Yes, Ya Rabbi, I was lost. I have been lost so many times and you have shown me the way. Now I'm lost. Show me the way through the Quran. Teach me your kitab. Teach me your kalam. I don't know. I don't find time in my day. I want to learn, but something comes in the way. The blessings get in the way of learning your deen. Ya Rabbi, make way for me. Put barakah in my time. Talk to your Rabb. وَوَجَدَكَ عَيْلًا فَأَغْنَى. And He found you poor and then He made you rich. Yes, Ya Rabbi. Make me independent of people. Put ghina in my heart. Make me content. Free me of all the needs, the way you freed Rasulullah from all the need, the way you free other people from need. Free me from need so that I only need you and nobody else. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Ya Rabbi, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. We have heard and I will listen. I will treat the yatim with affection. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. And as for the beggar, do not repulse them. Ya Rabbi, I will not turn away any beggars away from you, from me. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And Ya Rabbi, I will continue to proclaim your blessings on me. I will continue to proclaim the blessing of Deen to the world. I will not stop. This, my sisters, is Surah Ad-Duha. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly put this surah in our hearts and help us truly understand this. Now I'm going to play the recitation one more time, inshallah ta'ala. Were you able to listen to the recitation before? Was the sound coming for it? Okay, alhamdulillah. So I'm going to play the recitation one more time. Now truly grasp these words and try to feel them in your heart, inshallah ta'ala.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث.
Inshallah, now we are going to do the word-to-word breakdown.